Welcome to Arian's Review, and in today's video we'll be talking about the benefits and the disadvantages of the Sp1000 amp, having now used it for a couple of days now. I'm sure many of you are still thinking, do I upgrade to the Sp1000 amp, or should I just skip this one and go to the Sp2000? Which are the options. Just to let you know that the Sp2000 seems to have been a bit behind schedule according to what I've read from the forums. I thought it was supposed to come at the end of July. It now seems that it might be coming at the start of August or to the middle of August now. So for those who are waiting, please be patient. They are coming. Obviously, I appreciate the fact that Astell are making sure that the device that they produce are 100% functioning and that it all works. For those people who've seen my previous video, I have actually purchased an Osmo Action before, and after using it for 2 days, it then had faults, and then I had to take it back to the suppliers, which took about 2 weeks for them to actually replace. So yes, definitely be patient. I'm sure there is a reason why the Sp2000 is a bit behind. So now, coming down to the Sp1000 amp, there are things that I've changed having now purchased the Sp1000 amp. The way I do things have slightly altered a little bit. First thing to note, for those who are thinking of buying the amp, that the amp is roughly 200 grams in weight just with the amp alone. And for those thinking, oh, so what would have happened if I were to add the Sp1000 with the Sp1000 amp? Looking at my information is about 600 grams roughly, so that is something to bear in mind. My friend, for instance, has side graded. Now, he had the Sp1000 stainless steel version. Due to the fact that he think that the player was quite heavy, he was using it less, so he side graded and went for the Sp1000 M version, which is in gold, since that is a smaller package. So with the Sp1000 amp, the only thing that I can say about it is like a brick, literally. Probably just a miniaturized version, but obviously much better looking. As I mentioned, I went for the black version due to the fact that that was the only option since I was buying it secondhand, and it was saving me 19.4%. With the way I went for it, I think I had a good deal because I did save about 1,000. I still got warranty since he purchased it on the 3rd. Now, obviously, if you have the stainless steel version, then I would recommend go for the stainless steel. If you have the copper, I would recommend go for the copper. If you have the black onyx version, then obviously you go for the black onyx version. With me, I don't mind it, generally because of the fact that it does come in the case, and mostly I actually have it in the case. The case is quite good due to the fact it didn't cost any money, and it's actually free by the Sp1000 amp, where I recall having the AK380 with the case. You had to buy it yourself, and that costed about an extra 1,000 alone, but they've now included it for free, which I think is better for me because no need to spend extra money, and I do like to have my items protected. So the first thing that I have done with this upgrade with the Sp1000 amp is to first of all make sure that my amp is quite... So the first thing I have done is make sure that I have a screen protector on the back of the amp. The only reason is because you can see with this case here, the grill at the back, there are some loose bits, there are some holes just to let the air, hence the reason why it is still scratchable at the back. So the thing that I've done is just got a screen protector and put it on the back of this amp, and that's all I've done. Now, in the previous Sp1000 players, I have actually fully protected the whole machine. So one thing to note, it is like a brick. If I were attacked by anyone, I can literally use this to defend myself or attack someone. It is quite heavy. It is quite a big bulk. Now, one thing to note, having actually used the amp, I have never taken that out since that video. So generally what I'm saying is the amp is really good. So good that I've actually kept it as one piece together. In comparison to the AK380 with the amp is quite tight and not loose. having had 3 versions of them from before, the amp was quite easy to come loose, and then the screw at the back with the 8380, it was sometimes difficult to put it into position. With this one, it is quite easy. So that's what's happened. Now, besides having done that, one thing that I am now no longer using was this case, as this only holds the Sp1000. So since I have this mostly connected to the amp, this is no longer needed. This was about $1,000-ish, Hong Kong dollars. And the next thing that I have to upgrade was the case. This was actually the case that I had it in when I had the Sp1000 player. So it goes in, protects it, unzip it, and then you can put in your headphone jack in here. But due to the fact that the Sp1000 player with the amp is quite big, what I have done is purchase an extra bigger case, much bigger. You can see here, there is my previous case. It actually does hold it, but the fact is I can't zip it. I'm afraid that it might catch in the corner, so that's why this one is slightly taller. And it just goes in here, and it does zip up fully. I do have an extra compartment at the front. As I mentioned, I like to keep my fingers quite protected. And there's more pouches here. There's another bit here. This was just like $49 in Hong Kong, so something reasonable and cheap. Since I do carry my Sp1000 and amp, I do take that out when I use it. And generally, it is a consideration. Should I just keep this in the house and then just use the Sony WM1EZ? Since the Sony WM1EZ is in fact smaller and lighter in comparison to this, this combo. So let's put it back into its case. By the way, the protector that I'm using is just the one that came with the Sp1000. Remember, in the Sp1000 box, there are 3 screen protectors for the front and 3 for the back. I'm just using one of them as this is a spare. So that is what I probably recommend for those who like to keep the machines protected. And the next thing is, as I mentioned, I have never, since I purchased the amp, I have never taken it off the amp now. So I definitely recommend using the amp, as it does give you a higher detail and it does give you more power, especially with what I do. Since I use IEMs mostly, I have actually paired it up with this here. Let me give me a minute. Let me bring it over. This headphones. Some of you are into headphones. This is just a Beats one, the Detox version, Dr. Dre. And just to clarify, this is from China, so not the real deal. But it does produce a nice power. You can hear the bass and all that from the 3.5mm amp. So let me put that to the side. Another thing that I like about this amp in comparison to the AK380 is that when I plug it in, like so, you will see that there's the charging. There's the power, it's charging. It does tell you actually what the power indicator is of the player and the amp, and they're both fast charging. So yes, you are able to charge it together just using any USB-C cable that I've plugged in here. And yes, you are also able to connect to your computer as to transfer your songs back onto this player. So no need to unplug it and charge it separately. As I recall, the AK380 requires the player to charge. Let me check if it's still able to charge now. If it's charging, the Sp1000 does have a white light at the bottom. So for those who are interested, what will happen? Will it still charge if I were to rotate it this way? Because the lock position is here. So I'll rotate it this way, unlocks it. Okay, having now fully removed it, I am now just going to test if to see if the amp will charge by itself without requiring the need of the Sp1000 player. Yes, you are able to still charge it, as you can see from this white light. So yes, you can charge it, but generally you shouldn't be able, you don't really need to unplug your Sp1000 as to recharge them both separately. I mostly will generally leave them both together. And yes, my other recommendation is do not overcharge it. What do I mean by not overcharging it? Remember that inside we have both got rechargeable batteries. The thing is to note, there we go, that was quick. Remember that the batteries, since it's rechargeable, only recharges so many times. So once it's fully charged, I will unplug it, use it, and then if the battery gets low again, I will then recharge it again. So first thing to note, the Sp1000 player with the amp is extremely heavy. I'm not happy, or I'm not sure you're the one person or the person who would be willing to take this heavy bulk out. It does produce or provide a fantastic sound with the amp, hence the reason why I've never unplugged it, having attached it to my Sp1000 player. The other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that in order to get some options as to turn on the Sp1000 amp, give me a minute. So if I go to settings, and I turn on the amp, remember that this amp icon is only here because I've enabled this Sp1000 to have this amp icon here, and the way to get that option is to go to, you only get that option once you've upgraded your Sp1000 player, which I've done in a previous video, which I'll attach it below. You go to settings, and then you go to notification panel, and then once the software has been upgraded, the amp icon was down here, you have to drag it back to the top, and that is the reason why you now, or I now, have an amp icon at the very top. It does, when you press on it, this is, you turn it on, it does indicate that it's actually 64%. If I press on this, it has low gain, high gain, the amp LED, which is the power indicator here, or the lights here, which I mostly turn off because I don't need to know if that's turned on. We're version 1.01. A definitely upgrade, and one that I recommend that you go and try first, as you might postpone you from buying the Sp2000 for now when it actually gets released, as that is actually going to be costing about 30,000 Hong Kong dollars. Audio quality coming out from the Sp1000 amp, please note that with low gain, unbalance is 2.9 and the balance is 6.2. However, if you have it in high gain, which is the option that I like the most, the power coming out from the unbalanced, it is 6.2 VRMS, while balanced it is 10 VRMS. So right now, if it's balanced, this 2.5mm one is giving me 10 VRMS, and if it's a 3.5mm high gain, it is 6.2 VRMS. My preference, as I mentioned, is definitely high gain, but for those people who like the micro detail of the instruments, of each note, then low gain is probably what you want. However, if you're a person who likes the bass and the power, then definitely high gain is what I like the most. Now, using it with my two IEM amps that I have for now, which includes my 64 audio here with my Pandora cable. Just to clarify, the Pandora cable is about just under 10,000 Hong Kong dollars, and these are custom versions, the A18. If it's the universal, is the U18. In a separate video, I will talk more about custom and universal in-ear monitors. So with this, I use this at high gain with probably the volume set at 40, What I have here is a cable tie, and also this attaches it to my shirt so that it's not that loose. It is an 8 braided cable here that I have here. And with my Empire Ear Zeus, which is easier to drive, which is here. This is the Master version, as my other one is at Ice Lab right now, becoming, well, there's going to take 2 months to turn it into custom versions, because I've done it as I sadly dropped that version. With this one, it's quite easy to drive, and it's only maybe about 29 to 30 at high gain volume is what I would set this to. Anything higher is too much. So this is definitely an easy to drive IEM, and again, this is a 2.5 millimeter jack, and the cable is just a cheap, normal, easy, crappy one that came when I purchased the 64 audio, and that is roughly what I set it at. Even with the Beats Pro that I showed you earlier, the volume that I set that is probably to maybe 50, because that is a headphone. Again, at high gain. Hopefully you found this video useful. Any questions, just send me in the link below, and I'll do more videos of any monitors later. Do subscribe if you're not subscribed, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon.